Welcome YouTube to my new channel, Scot Free. This is my back garden. It's a lovely sunny day here in Yatton. So I thought it'd be a nice place to do a little introductory video on my channel. A little bit about me. I am a photographer. I've been a photographer about 5 years. And I started shooting sort of landscapes, started off doing that, and then I kind of progressed on to more conceptual stuff with models, you know, trying to use outside locations and trying to be a bit more emotive with what I was shooting. So I've been interested in video for quite a while, and I've always wanted to get myself a YouTube channel. You know, I do watch quite a lot of them and find them really interesting. So I thought it's about time that I'd done it. You know, so I've been going out a lot camping, and a lot of my videos that I watch on YouTube, you know, involve exploring and camping and documenting. And I just thought, you know, why not? You know, I'm gonna try it. So I'm gonna, you know, try and incorporate, you know, what I know around my, you know, creative tools, you know, with cameras and stuff like that, and try and bring them into, you know, my camping and my walking and my outside activities. And hopefully you'll enjoy them. You know, I've been doing walking and camping not long really, only about 6 months, and I've just sort of got the bug basically, and I just want to kind of document it. So I thought this would be a good video to kind of just give you an idea of the gear that I use. You know, I know gear is not for everyone. Some people don't get bogged down with it, and I tend not to, but I wanted to make a video, you know, because I do find it interesting. You know, I'm always sort of wondering, what do they use, or what did they use to capture that shot, or, you know, what gear they using. You know, what tent did they have, what sleeping bag, you know, what bushcrafting knife, etc. So, you know, and hopefully it will evolve, and I'll try and do my own little reviews on stuff, or kind of my experience of stuff. So it'll kind of evolve, you know, over time. So first off, what I'm going to look at is what I'm going to be using to capture my videos. You know, my SLR, my GoPro and whatnot, what goes into my overnight bag, you know, and then I'll move on to my outdoorsy equipment. So just give you a rough idea of what I use. So we're coming to the kitchen now, and basically this is my kit. Pretty much 95% of it packs down into my Osprey overnight bag, bar the drone. Work in progress with the drone. It does go on my bag, but I'm limited to weather because I cannot use my waterproof shield over my bag when my drone's on the back of it. Plus it weighs a hefty ton. So still work in progress with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the kit down into two, talk about my media and what I'm going to use to capture videos, etc. And then I'm going to talk about what my outdoor equipment is. There is little bits missing, but this is probably 95% of the kit that I'm going to be using in the near future. So okay, let's crack on. Okay, starting off, I have a Canon 6D with a 17 to 40mm L wide angle lens. It's a full frame camera. I have a Canon 70 to 200 f4 L lens. This is quite weighty, so usually this stays at home. I don't really take it out that often. Then I have a Phantom 3 Professional. This is the 4K version. I've added some carbon fibre props because the ones that come with the standard ones keep breaking. So this is the controller for it. Hopefully you'll see a lot more videos with this, but at the moment I'm really struggling to to get it out on my pack. So it's going to be one of those things that I'm going to have to probably go out solo with it. But hopefully if I get up into the mountains it would be lovely to get some footage. But like I said, if I'm going to be staying overnight, it's going to be hard packing it all down. But yeah, cracking bit of kit. Have my Valbon carbon fibre tripod. Then I'm moving on. I have my GoPro Hero 4. This is the silver edition, so it just shoots at 1080p. Most of my videos are going to be shot at 1080p. Even though my drone shoots at 4K, I'll probably only shoot at 1080p unless I need the higher resolution of the 4K. But yeah, GoPro, cracking little kit. Most of my stuff will be documented on this. I will be wearing it on my head with my head strap, so I'm going to look a bit crazy. I have a couple of extra batteries. I have more on order because anyone will know with a GoPro that the batteries are shocking. They last about an hour and 20 minutes at 1080p. So yeah, they're on order at the moment. I have a little gorilla pod from my Hero, so I can attach it to trees. I have a intervalometer, so this is basically a little gizmo that attaches to my SLR to allow me to shoot raw individual images from my time lapse. I can set that to shoot say 300 images over a certain period of time. So like I said, part of my getting outside and creating is going to be doing some more professional time lapses. Even though the little Hero shoots time lapse, it's not quite as detailed as if you do it using an SLR and shooting individual images. So I'll be kind of maybe doing little tutorials on in Lightroom and stuff on how I capture my time lapse and stuff like that. Then I have a dreaded selfie stick. Purchased this a couple of weeks ago. I purchased this because I'm going to use it with my iPhone. It just, you know, I'm going to be wearing my GoPro on my head a lot of the time, and instead of taking this off, I'm going to just attach my iPhone and then I can do pano shots with it. So it just gives another perspective of my videos, basically. I have a GoPro, well it's not GoPro, but it's just a sort of a third party little microphone. Sometimes the GoPro picks up far too much wind and isn't the best. Even though this isn't brilliant, it does a half decent job. You know, over time I'll probably get a better microphone for my SLR, which will also work with my Hero 4. So that is pretty much it for the media. So like I said, over time, you know, the kit might progress, it might change, but yeah. So now what we'll do is we'll move on to the more outdoorsy equipment. Right, okay, so now we're on to outdoor equipment. So this is what I've kind of accumulated over the last 6 months. Some of it is quite new and some of it I've had from the get-go. We will start with the tent. Basically, this is a Vango Banshee 300. It's classed as a 3-man tent, but it fits me and my wife quite snugly. Maybe 2 adults and a child, but realistically, it's a two-man tent. I went for this one because of price. It cost about £150. And the fact that it's fairly light. I think it's just comes in under 2.5 kilos, maybe a little bit more. So it's a cracking little tent. I'll probably do more of an in-depth review when I'm outside and I can put it up and show you how long it takes to stick it up and stuff. So yeah, that's my tent. I also have a Vango tarp, which I paid about 30 quid for, which was quite cheap. That kind of works when it's bad weather. I've been out a few times and it's been raining, and I've managed to get this tarp up straight away, managed to get my kit under there, keep it near a fire, and I can stay dry. You know, also if it's really bad, I can get the tent set up while my stuff's underneath the tarp. So dead handy. It adds extra weight, but sometimes it's worth it. I won't always take that out with me because the tent will be sufficient. So moving on to sleeping stuff, I've got a Vango Venom 400. Basically it is a Downmat. I went for this one straight away. I didn't really mess around with sleeping bags because originally I was going to buy a sort of a 50 quid jobby, and I was advised it's best to, if you're sleeping in cold weather, which when I purchased it, it was probably middle of March, so it's still quite cold, and it's done an amazing job. You know, the first time I used it, I went over to Penny Fan, we stayed at the reservoir, and it done a cracking job. You know, we were with another couple of people who had, you know, cheaper sleeping bags, and they were freezing. So me and my wife, we both had these. We were really snug in them, and the only downside is in the hot summer months at the moment, they're too hot. You know, we found that when we stayed on Dartmoor a few weeks ago, that we were so hot that we had to sleep outside of them. But I'd rather, you know, be too hot and get out of my sleeping bag than be too cold, you know, and not being able to warm up. So again, cracking sleeping bag. Mats. I tried out a couple of mats before I ended up with this one, and this is something that I'm probably not going to upgrade because this is probably the best mat you can get at the moment, in my experience. Everyone has different you know, ideas of what they want from a mat. This is kind of comfy, and it's quite light, and it's extremely warm. There's a load of Thermarest that make the same, people that make the same as my pillow, but I felt like it was sleeping on a crisp packet. But this one is a down mat, so it's filled with down, so it's got a really good R rating, and I hope to get out and do a lot more videos in the colder weather, you know, when it's frosty and maybe snowing and stuff like that. So I wanted something that was going to last me all seasons, instead of, you know, I can't really afford to have summer gear and winter gear. So I went for this straight away. Pillow wise, it's quite a chunky pillow. It's made by Thermarest, but it's fairly light. You know, again, I've tried a few different pillows and didn't really get on with a few of them until I literally, they were great in the shop. I went out with them and not so great. But this one, really enjoyed sleeping with it, got a really good night's sleep with it. So these things combined gave me a really good night's sleep, because I'm quite a light sleeper, and I need to get good night's sleep. So that's that. Moving on to clothes, depending on the season and stuff like that, at this moment in time I've got my little down jacket, which folds down to my little North Face down jacket, which, you know, folds down to nothing. Great little jacket. That's my little sleeping mat. Bargain these are. These £3.50 from Sports Direct. Doesn't matter if you get lost or they get wrecked or something like that. At £3.50, they're brilliant. You know, for when it's damp in the morning or it's been raining, these are brilliant. You just stick them down and you're ready to go. That's my Exped snozzle that came with my mat. Basically, because that's filled with down, they say you shouldn't really blow it up with your mouth because of the moisture and stuff like that. So these, you shake it around, it captures the air, and then you shove it into the thing. And it also acts as a dry bag. So these three items will go inside my dry bag. I've got a towel, some North Face gloves, which I would not recommend. These are absolutely crap. First time I used them, got a hole in them, and they've been getting holes in them ever since. You can see from you know, the damage that it's done. So North Face, rubbish. Got some Berghaus waterproof bottoms and a North Face waterproof jacket. So many times I've, at the last minute, was not going to take the waterproof, so I thought, well, the weather's nice, it's extra weight, I'm not going to need them. And every time my wife has said, you should take them just in case, and the wife was right. You know, every time it was peeing it down in rain, I would have got soaked. So now, as much as I don't like it, I always take my waterproof stuff out of me no matter what the weather. There is a pair of socks around here. I take a spare pair of socks, but they've gone missing. They are somewhere. And also, depending on what time of year it is, sometimes I take base layers and stuff like that, and then I've got clothes that I'm wearing. So if I'm going for one overnight, you know, this is sufficient. Water-wise, again, depending on if I'm going, you know, walking far, because I've got a Camelback 3 litre, but it adds a lot of weight to your backpack if you're carrying that. But if I'm going somewhere where there's no water source, then I have to rely on the water that I'm carrying. If not, if I'm going near streams or rivers, then I take my 5 litre collapsible carrier. Again, cracking a little bit of kit, a couple of quid from eBay. So moving on to like kitchen and cooking and food and stuff like that. I've got some titanium stuff. I've got a titanium spork and knife, a titanium cut and a titanium plate. And the reason I went for titanium is because they're light. And it's good that they're metal because I like my coffee in the morning, and because I'm usually busy around camp, you know, my coffee gets cold, so I can literally just stick it over the fire and it warms up, or I can stick it over my jet boil. And again, the same works for the plate. If it gets too cold, my food, I could just heat it up, or if I'm preparing stuff, it can sit in there, no problem, near the fire. Regarding cooking utensils, these aren't titanium, these were just purchased from Trespass, I think, and I was looking into titanium pots and pans, but they're not brilliant for cooking on. They don't disperse the heat very well, and you get burn spots on them. So I don't really want to spend a lot of money on titanium plates only to burn my food, you know. So I'm stuck with those, and these are non-stick, these are. I think I paid about 30 quid for them, and they do a fantastic job. And again, it's one of those things that I can't see me upgrading in the near future, and that's something light that comes along that is going to disperse the heat well. So coming on to food, oh, forgot about my trusty jet boil. This thing is amazing. Looked at a lot of different water heating, you know, things, and this for me won it. There was a lot of MSR stuff that I was looking at, but to me the jet boil just works perfectly. I love my coffee, and I've got a little coffee percolator that, you know, that plunges the coffee down, and you get a lovely cup of coffee out of it. Jet boil is brilliant for heating water. It's not so good for cooking on because it's very fierce and severe, you know, heat. So it doesn't, you can't really even regulate it too well for simmering food. So, you know, that's the downside of the jet boil, but amazing. Coming on to food, again, depending on where I'm going, depends on the food that I'm carrying. So if I'm going a fair distance, and again I need to lighten my load a bit, I'm going for dehydrated food. These are dehydrated chili, basically, which my wife has made, and it's brilliant. You know, it tastes lovely. I was a bit sceptical at first when we were making it, but yeah, lovely. Got a couple of energy bar snacks, a little cup of soup, and then breakfast. Some oats, basically. These are dead handy, nice in the morning. If I'm going on a shorter hike and I'm not too worried about weight, then I'll take bacon and eggs because they will run nice and fry up in the morning. So this is my knick-knack bag, basically. This is got things like mozzie spray, it's got my head torch in there, water purifying tablets, some tissues, some paracetamol and stuff like that, some plasters and whatnot. I mean, most of the first aid kit is in my wife's bag, which she carries, so if I go away I usually add a little bit to that. And there, like I said at the start, there is some bits and bobs which are missing, which I've not added to, and I can't think off the top of my head. Okay. Knives and cutting material. This is something that I'm going to hopefully, you know, improve on. I've got a little pruning tool which is coming amazingly handy, you know, around the campfire for cutting up logs, and you know, when you cannot carry logs back because they're too big, you can cut them up to make them fit in your pack and stuff like that. It's well used. I need to upgrade I need to replace the blade because I've snapped it and it's just well used. I've also lost the nut and bolt, so I've made a makeshift one, but they're about 25 quid, but brilliant. This is only just a cheap knife, and I kind of just use this around the camp, use it for splitting wood, so I'm not too worried about it getting blunt and stuff like that. So it's only about 6 or 7 quid. Something I'm going to improve on, more to do with like the bushcraft side of things that I want to get into. I don't really know too much about knives and stuff, so hopefully lots more YouTube videos to watch to work out which ones to get. And then that finally, well no, not finally, that brings us on to walking poles. I had my doubts about these, I must admit. I used to see people with walking poles and yeah, I didn't think too highly of them. I didn't really get what they were about. But I must admit, when I invested in these, it was a real game changer. It really was. They really help when I'm going across rocky ground, marshy ground, boggy ground, and especially going downhill. You know, a lot of people say, oh, it's so much easier going downhill. You know, it's not the case. You know, I've found going down steep inclines really puts a lot of pressure on my knees and stuff like that, and sometimes I actually prefer walking up hills than down them. So they also act as poles for the tarp, so I can use them as poles, and they come in dead handy. So again, you know, if you're looking into them, get them. These are Black Diamond. I think I paid about 70 quid for them. Could be wrong on that one, but great little bit of kit. And then that finally leads us on to the Mac Daddy bag. You know, this is a great bag, an amazing bit of kit. I had a Vango bag to start with. I think it was a Vango Sherpa 75 litre, and it was a cracking bag, but the problem is I went into a shop and I tried on the Osprey bag and I loved it. It's got a anti-gravity system, so it just fits like a glove. It's so snug, so comfortable, and it doesn't feel like you're carrying half as the weight that you're carrying. So I would recommend that highly, and that's one thing I cannot see me changing out for a long time, because it cost me a lot of money. It was about 160 quid, but I don't regret it one bit. You know, amazing bag, loads of compartments, lots of places to hang stuff and attach to, loads of little extras, and the main thing is it's very, very comfortable. So I think that about sums up the kit that I've got. So hopefully you found something interesting from this video. Next time I'll try and be outside. I have tried to make a few videos. You can see from some of the snippets from this video that I have actually been out and about, but I've never managed to make a full movie because it's been such rubbish weather. It's basically, I've only managed to shoot half of it, and I wanted to be able to document the whole thing. So this is why I've kind of started here with my kit and a little bit about me. So I really do hope that you found it interesting, and if there's any questions, then leave a comment. Try and be kind. This is my first video and I'm not going to get everything right. I've probably made a few mistakes with information, but it's a learning curve, as you can tell. And show me some love. Leave a comment or subscribe, and hopefully the videos, we'll see where we go with them. So see you later.